Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the energy forecast for March 2021 for life path number 2. Before I get into the reading, I just want to mention that this is, of course, a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. Okay, so 2s. March is a universal 8 cycle. And so collectively, we may see a theme around business, power, responsibility, money, resources, and karma. So this is going to be a cycle where what you choose to sow, you will reap. So be very, very aware of where and what you choose to invest your time, your energy, and your resources into. Make sure that there's some level of alignment there for you, okay? This is a really great cycle for business ventures, including looking for and obtaining work. So if that's something that you have been wanting or needing to do, this could be a great cycle for that. 8 energy rules the material plane. So this can be a time of recognition, rewards, extra sales, if that's something that you're doing, as well as additional responsibility and pressure. So with recognition often comes additional responsibility and pressure. Getting that promotion may be great, but there's going to be additional responsibility and pressure associated with that. So really make sure that you have the tools in place to be able to work with that energy and that added responsibility. This can be a time of doors opening and people within power helping if you ask. You may also be the one in power who has an opportunity to help someone who comes to you. So if that opportunity arises and you feel capable of doing that, do so graciously. If you're someone who believes in karma, this can be a cycle where karmic debts come due or for those debts to be paid off. So you may find new relationships entering your life at this time where the two of you have some kind of past karma or past lives that includes karma to be cleared. So if a debt has been paid up, so if that karmic debt has been paid, you may see that energy materialize within the physical in some way, such as an inheritance or a legacy of some kind. So pay attention to anything like that surfacing. This can also be a great cycle for reclaiming your own power back from those who have taken your power in some way, or where you have given your power away, such as with addictions or something of that nature. This is a wonderful cycle for reclaiming that which is energetically yours and releasing the stories which were never yours to carry in the first place. Okay, so 8 energy can be really busy, really energetic, really fast moving, a little chaotic at times, very powerful energy. A lot of strength is called for, a lot of inner strength when it's an 8 cycle. But the rewards and again, the harvest that you will sow after an 8 cycle is worth every minute. So I pulled an animal spirit card to get an overall energy for you all for the month of March. And what came up for you all was moth spirit. And moth spirit says, surrender now. And what I would say about that, because looking at the energies for March for you all, I definitely feel like there's going to be a level of surrender that's needed at this time as the universe put you on different detours. Let's put it that way. I do see some detours coming in for you all that is going to call for inner strength, that is going to call for resiliency, but that is for your highest good. So again, there are going to be those times where you need to release the control, release the need to know, and surrender to the mystery of the universe, surrender to the knowing of your higher consciousness, to the knowing of your soul, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to move into the energies for the month, and I broke it down into 4 weeks. Of course, it's hard to put a time on when things will come in because energy is fluid. So just look at this as a guide. So the first week of March, I definitely see, which is interesting because this is actually coming up in several readings, but I'm definitely seeing this energy around against that someone taking your power from you or you giving that power away. And so an example of that is if somebody did something to you, now or recently or in your past, they took a piece of your power from you, right? They had some level of control over you, and you may have sort of allowed that to occur in order to survive the situation, right? It's like that fight or flight comes in and you're like doing whatever you need to do to be able to survive the situation. So it's not that there's shame in giving that power away if somebody is doing something to you to force that power from you, right? So there's that kind of example of somebody taking your power from you. It could be somebody trying to manipulate you in some way, somebody who takes your voice and doesn't allow you to be heard, whether that's in your career or at home or whatever the case may be, some kind of abuse or abusive situation, right? And it doesn't have to be necessarily overt abuse. It can be something where it's emotional abuse that is hard to put a finger on. But that's sort of an example of somebody taking your power from you. But there's also the circumstances of you giving your power away when it comes to, substance abuse, to food addictions, or, staying in a relationship that is not healthy or that diminishes who you are at the soul level. And so again, all of those things where we continue to show up and invest our energy in or give our energy to, which we know isn't healthy, but we're too afraid to leave because we're too afraid of the unknown, right? And so we go back to moth spirit of that surrender now. And there's really just this call of the need for a shift in focus, the need to recognize that what you're continuing to invest your energy into is, no longer serving you and actually harming you. So there's this call to begin that process of releasing those chains that bind you, whether going to a therapist or a substance abuse counselor or a doctor or, whatever the case may be, whatever calls to you. But there's definitely this call to, you are getting the invitation at this time to no longer avoid whatever this is. So if this is somebody that did something to you in the past, but you're still holding that fear, that resentment, that anger, that shame, that hurt, whatever, if it's something that happened previously and you're still carrying that with you, you're still energetically bound to that person. And so it may not be healthy for you to actually physically be in the same room with them and to do that healing, but nothing says that you can't do that healing energetically to release those energetic ties that are keeping you sort of stuck in that energy, okay? And so however you choose to do that and whatever resources you can find to do that are very supported at this time. But there's really this call to, a change needs to occur. And so it's up to you to find the resources, to find the ways to make that change, okay? To shift that focus, to stop sowing those seeds that you don't want to harvest, right? That you don't want to reap. So, and there's no shame, there's no blame, there's no any of that. It's just a matter of being aware of where you're investing your energy, where it's not only not serving you, but it's harming you, okay? So then we move into the second week of March, and it's kind of like you got money on the mind this week. There's definitely this energy coming up around resources, money, material goods. It could be around career. It could be something like that. It feels like something that has been very stable for you, but you're maybe at a crossroads with this, or you're facing some kind of, you need to make some kind of decision around whatever this is. Maybe it's like you're trying to sell property, or you're thinking about buying property, or something like that. Something where you are going to commit to something for a long time, right? Like this is something that's not just going to be a quick in and out. It's going to be like a several years type thing, right? So again, buying a house, selling a house, buying property, selling property, starting a business, getting a new career, changing career, something like that. It has to do with resources. It has to do with the material world. But it's something that is for the long haul, right? So the point of this is before you make that commitment, before you dive in and say yes to whatever this is or sign your name on the dotted line, make sure that you take some time to go within and to do some some self-reflection, some inner contemplation, just to make sure that this feels right for you, that you're not doing whatever this is because of obligation or because somebody's telling you to do this or somebody is influencing your decision in some way or manipulating your decision in some way. So I feel like there's some kind of choice or decision that's coming up around that 8 energy that is the physical realm, right? That is money and power and influence. And you have an opportunity to either say yes to this or say no to this. But all the universe is asking you to do, all the energy is saying is make sure that you feel into this before you commit to it, okay? Before you commit to whatever this is, just feel into it. Just make sure that it feels good for you, all right? So then we move into the 3rd week. And it's interesting, I'm not going to lie, this feels like a little bit of challenging energy. This feels like sort of, not to scare you, and I don't think that any energy we should be scared of, but it's definitely like that tower energy, okay? So kind of like a complete redirect or a complete overhaul of something, a major change in direction, okay? And so, but it's kind of like, it's almost like some kind of communication comes in for you that makes things so clear for you. You suddenly see, all the pieces to the puzzle come falling in your lap, and suddenly you see the bigger picture. And that clarity almost is what creates the environment for you to do a complete 180, a complete change in direction. So this does actually feel like it's related to resources or to money or to a business or career or something like that. But it's very necessary. Let me just put it that way. Like this detour, this change in direction, this 180 switch is very necessary, because it's almost like the universe is saying you can't keep moving on the path that you're headed on and make any progress, basically. It's kind of like the path that you're headed on or the path that you're currently on is a dead end, okay? It's not leading you anywhere. You just keep getting the same results for the effort that you're putting in. And so what the universe is doing is redirecting you in kind of a very abrupt way. But it's almost like it's not one of those situations where it's like you wake up and your whole world is different. It's one of those situations where it's like you get this major clarity, and then it's almost like you feel compelled to do this 180. Like it makes sense, and this complete redirect makes sense for you. So you always have a choice and you always have some level of control, but it does feel like kind of like that major aha moment where you're like, okay, I can't keep going in the direction I was going into. Something needs to change, and I'm the only one that can make that change. So again, there's power in that, and that's a reclaiming of your power in some way. But understand that this major redirect is definitely happening for a reason. And so this obviously feels very specific, so I don't know that it's going to show up for all 2s, but this is definitely the energy that's there. Feels a little bit challenging. It feels like it could be very challenging, to be honest, but not in a way that it's like you don't know how you're going to overcome it. More so in the way of like, wow, I can see how the direction I was on with whatever this is was leading me nowhere. And now I understand the direction I need to move into. Even if I don't know all the ins and outs of it, I know the direction I need to move into. So let me do what I need to do to get there. Then we move into the fourth week, and it's interesting because it's kind of like after this sort of tower energy comes in that third week, you move into sort of a softer energy in the fourth week. It's like after that realization comes in, after that clarity comes in for you, now it's like you're looking to the future, you know the direction you want to move into. Again, even if you don't know what lies beneath or beyond the forest, right? You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Even if you don't know what's there, you know that's the direction you want to move into now. And what's interesting is there's this very powerful energy of like new gifts, new opportunities with substantial financial rewards tied to them are waiting for you once you step beyond the gate, right? So it's kind of like, it's like this shift in perspective, major shift in perspective sort of occurs for you mid-month. And then it's like you're able to see more clearly the direction that would be much more aligned for you. And so you're able to sort of see the potential and to start moving in that way. So, sometimes the energy of the month can feel very subtle and kind of like the cues might come in and they might be missed because we're too preoccupied. I really do feel, twos, that the energy this month is going to be very in your face. It's going to be very much like, here's the information, here's the aha moments. What are you going to choose to do with it, right? Because remember, this 8 energy is really going to call you to pull in your inner strength, to really, call upon your inner reserves and move through this in a way that you're reclaiming your power and that you're standing within your power as you continue to sow those seeds that you want to reap. Okay? So, and remember Moth's spirit of surrender now. You're in partnership with the universe. So sometimes we need to surrender to those things that we don't know, but that are ultimately for our highest good, and to trust in the divine timing and the divine intervention, as well as the divine invitation, okay? So just be aware of what comes in for you. If there's nothing wrong with taking the time to contemplate, to sink into whatever it is and really feel into the whatever presents itself to you, because it's through that contemplation, it's through that feeling into it that you'll tap into your intuition and you will ultimately be able to follow that compass, okay? And it will never lead you astray. So very powerful energies for you, twos, for March, but I think that where it's leading you has substantial potential, okay? So take care, everyone. I'll be back again soon. Bye for now.